Hello everyone. In this tutorial, we are going to talk about 10 tips on academic writing. I'm Ziaul Munim, the founder of ResearchHUB, and let's start with the 10 tips. First one, every academic article is about a story from beginning until the end. Think about it as a movie, if the introduction part is like the first 10 minutes of the movie, and if it's not continuing well into a story, people will be distracted, right? Same here. So make sure you have a consistent story throughout your article. Every article, one story. Don't put more than one story. If you put too many stories, people are confused. They cannot follow. Scientific writing is already difficult. Okay. Tip 2, write in short, precise sentences. Use simple words. Bear in mind that many of your readers might not be native English speakers, and science is already hard, so we should not make it harder for people to understand. Tip number 3, always write in present tense, even if you refer to past study. For example, instead of writing Munim et al. Found that, we could write Munim et al. Find that. But here, I will also use some reservation because I have encountered that many people would not really agree with it. So sometimes you might also have to use past tense when referring to past studies. Okay. For example, when explaining your study and what you are doing and the objective of study and the research questions, those cases you of course can use present tense. Okay. When writing the method part and when writing the discussion and results part, of course you can write in present tense, but sometimes in the literature review you might have to use past tense because people a lot of the people prefer past tense over present tense when referring to past studies, but I still try to write in present tense most of my findings, right? So tip number 4, always use active voice. Try to avoid passive voice as much as you can. It's like a crime in academic writing, and it often confuses the reader. So avoid passive voice and write in active voice as much as possible. Never write the paper. Sometimes you will see many of the published studies. They start with this paper does this, this, this. The objective of this paper is this, this, this. Just write the objective of this study is this, this, this. This study focuses on this, this, this. Just use the term study instead of paper. Okay. I often had a situation in a conference, someone really got angry with me because I used the term paper, not study. So tip number 6, when referencing to any number below 10, when you're writing, use textual form. Okay. For example, if you have to say a total of 7, then write it in 7. So write a total of 7, the spelling, not just put the number there. Okay. But when you have 10 or more, then use just the numeric format. Then you don't have to use the textual format. Tip number 7, for each paragraph, make sure that you start with the topic sentence and end with the transition sentence to the next paragraph. In between these two, you write detailed facts about a topic of the paragraph. And the topic sentence is a sentence that summarizes the main idea of the paragraph. So normally what I do, the first sentence is the topic sentence, and I try to avoid any reference to past studies in the first sentence of a paragraph and also in the last sentence of a paragraph. In the factual information in between the paragraph, between that first sentence and the last sentence, that's where I put a lot of reference to past studies and when I'm referring to the findings of those past studies. Okay. So I start with the topic idea in the first sentence, and then I build up with factual information in the whole paragraph while referring to previous studies. Many argue that using first person singular pronoun I in academic writing should not be done. So many argue against it. But you will find many studies which are single authored and published in top journals, and they boldly use I. But however, I will still recommend you to not use I in your academic writing, whether you are writing a thesis or journal article. Often you will see the people who write I in their writing, you will see they are very well-established professor in top universities. So often you are a young scholar and new in academic writing, you should not really use I. However, I still recommend not using I, okay? Use this study. So please ignore the 2 here. It's a mistake here. So use this study, this research, okay? So, and it will help you to avoid passive voice in academic writing, okay? And it's also common to use we. And here, when we say we, even in a single authored study, you can say we. We actually means you and the reader. So author and the reader. You have to think from the reader's perspective. When someone is reading your text, they will read, we found this. So the reader seems as him or herself and the author. Okay. Tip number 9, do not repeat any information on facts throughout the article except for the conclusion. Conclusion is the part where we repeat our information. Until conclusion, we never should repeat anything, okay? And mentioning a fact only once is sufficient. You are allowed to repeat what you have done and what you have found only in the conclusion section. Remember that, space in journals when you're writing for academic journals is precious, and we should not waste repeating information. Tip number 10, finally, we should be careful about plagiarism. We have some videos on the ResearchHUB YouTube about what is plagiarism and how to avoid it. I highly recommend you to have a look on that. And in general, academia has low tolerance for plagiarism, and sometimes it might happen that you publish something, you get away with it for the time being, but eventually it might happen that someone, after 10 years of publishing the thing, reports you, and you might face some consequences. So try to do proper ethical procedures when writing and publishing. And one thing I should also mention is that, plagiarism and similarity are two different things. Often we look into the similarity softwares like Turnitin and so on. So Turnitin gives you mainly the similarity, it's not necessarily giving you plagiarism, okay? So 10% similarity could be no problem at all. But then it might happen that, you have 5% similarity, but that's a serious plagiarism case. So you have to understand the difference between plagiarism and similarity. And plagiarism is often assessed or evaluated by people rather than just a software. Softwares only give similarity reports, and it's the responsibility of the people understanding or going through the similarity reports and try to find out what is plagiarism and what is not, if there is some instances of plagiarism. Okay. One final complementary tip is that always keep your paragraph justified, okay, not left or not right. Make them justified. You have these 3 things in Word file. You just click that to make a paragraph justified. And whenever you start working on a Word file, always put page number at the bottom of the page. And it is highly recommended that you use a professional proofreader, particularly if you're writing for PhD or a journal article, or at least use Grammarly. Okay, at least use Grammarly to fix the language errors in your writing before submission to a journal. Okay. So good luck with your academic writing. You can connect with me on LinkedIn. Here is my LinkedIn QR code. Okay. And you can also reach out to me by my email and also have a look on my website. Good luck. I hope this simple 10 tips helps you in succeeding in your academic career.